There, everybody. Good morning. We are studying lesser known people in the Bible, and today we're going to talk about a man named Ehud. Capital Ehud. I guess that's how you say it. Ehud. That's how I've always pronounced it. His story is found in the book of Judges, chapter number 3. So, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, the seventh book of the Bible, chapter number 3, and we're going to pick up the reading in verse number 12. Now, if you don't know much about the nation of Israel, what happened after the death of Joshua, Moses was the leader that brought the people out of Egypt. Joshua took over after his death and helped bring the people across the Jordan River into the promised land. And then he helped them get settled in the promised land. Now, Israel was never intended to be reigned by a king. God did not have that plan for the children of Israel, at least at this point. And he allowed judges to rule and reign. In the end, truly, Moses was not a king over Israel. Joshua was not a king. They were leaders, but they didn't have any ultimate authority or executive power. And so judges would lead the people, and they would lead generally by the word of God and consensus. But what we would often see is the judge would step up into position and he would lead the people well, and the people would follow and they'd do right by the Lord. But then they'd get off track and they'd start sinning and turning against God, turning to paganism. And so the Lord would allow them to be judged by surrounding nations for their disobedience. And then, after so much time and pain being inflicted by those nations, they would cry out to the Lord for help and deliverance. And so he would send another judge. A judge you may know well is Samson, the strong man, Samson and Delilah. Another judge that you may have heard of is Gideon. And so Ehud, he's one of these judges here. So let's read in chapter number 12. Chapter 3, verse 12. And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord strengthened Eglon, the king of Moab, against Israel, because they had done evil in the sight of the Lord. So God uses these evil kings and evil nations to bring judgment and pain into the lives of his people. And this man, Eglon, the king of Moab, is one of those men. If you remember when Lot escaped from Sodom and Gomorrah, he, his wife, and his two single daughters left Sodom, and his wife turned and looked back. She was turned into a pillar of salt. Lot escaped into the mountains with his two single daughters. They thought the world was ending, and they thought they needed to do further civilization. So they got their father drunk. One night, one of them slept and became impregnated by him. The next night, the same thing occurred, and they had two children. The name of the one was Ammon. The Ammonite people came from them. And then the other was Moab. The Moabite people came. So this is the descendants of this incestuous relationship, while well-intentioned, still wrong and foolish. And so God uses the Moabites to bring pain into the children of Israel's lives because they had done evil in the sight of the Lord. Verse 13, and he gathered unto him the children of Ammon and Amalek, and went and smote Israel and possessed the city of palm trees. So he brings the Ammonites with him. That's that brother nation there, if you will. And then Amalek are the Amalekites. That's another nation that would torment Israel. So the three of these nations team up together and come, and they overtake the city of palm trees. Got to be honest with you, I don't know what city that is. I'd have to look that up. Verse 14, so the children of Israel served Eglon, the king of Moab, 18 years. 18 years they're under that cruel, harsh leadership. But when the children of Israel cried unto the Lord raised them up a deliverer, Ehud, the son of Gera, a Benjamite, a man left-handed. And by him the children of Israel sent a present unto the king of Moab. But Ehud made him a dagger, which had two edges of a cubit length, and he did gird it under his raiment upon his right thigh. So here's what happens. The children of Israel are being led and ruled by this Moabite king, Eglon, and they cry unto God for deliverance. God gives them Ehud. Now we're told that Ehud is the son of Gera. He's of the tribe of Benjamin. He's also left-handed. Now the children of Israel are going to send Eglon a gift. And this is going to give Ehud the opportunity to have an audience with Eglon, and this will play out as we read. So as Ehud prepares to go see Eglon, notice he made a dagger of 2 edges. So he's got an 18-inch long dagger, this cubit length that it's talking about. The cubit goes from the elbow to the tip of the longest finger. Generally, that's 18 inches on the average man. And so he's got an 18-inch long dagger that's double-edged. All right, both edges are sharp. And he girded it under his raiment upon his right thigh. So he straps it to his right thigh. And he brought the present unto Eglon, king of Moab. And Eglon was a very fat man. Boy, the Lord didn't sugarcoat that at all. He didn't call him portly or chubby. He just said he was a very fat man. And when he had made an end to offer the present, he sent away the people that bare the present, but he himself turned again from the quarries that were by Gilgal, and said, I have a secret errand unto thee, O king. Who said, Keep silence. And all that stood by him went out from him. So the people bear the present to Eglon. And then as the ceremony is over and this presentation of this gift is done, Ehud tells Eglon, hey, I have something else for you. I have a secret to tell you. And so Eglon, after being boosted in his ego by this gift, he tells everybody, okay, you all get out. I want to talk to Ehud in private. This isn't going to go well for Eglon. Verse number 19, verse 20. And Ehud came unto him, and he was sitting in a summer parlor, which he had for himself alone. And Ehud said, I have a message from God unto thee. And he arose out of his seat. So Ehud goes into this summer parlor, this room. Perhaps it was a screened-in patio. We'll see how it plays out as we read. But it's Ehud and Eglon alone in this parlor room, and they're by themselves. And Ehud tells Eglon, I have a word from God for you. And Ehud begins to make his way toward Eglon. Verse 21. And Ehud put forth his left hand, and took the dagger from his right thigh, and thrust it into his belly. So Ehud takes the dagger off of his right thigh with his left hand, and he just stabs Eglon right through the stomach. Verse 22, and the haft also went in after the blade. So if you can picture this dagger, you've got the long 18-inch blade, and then of course you have the handle for the dagger, but think of that perpendicular piece that serves as the guard to keep the hand from going onto the blade. That's the haft. So as he stabs Eglon, of course he's left-handed, stabs Eglon, even that haft goes into the body of Eglon. He stabbed him something good, didn't he? And the fat closed upon the blade so that he could not draw the dagger out of his belly, and the dirt came out. So he runs this dagger in. Eglon is such a huge fat man. Good thing he brought an 18-inch blade. The haft gets stuck. Ehud can't even pull the dagger out. It's all the way into his body. The Bible says the dirt came out. No doubt this is processed or digested foods in the intestinal region that is coming out of the wound of Eglon. Then Ehud went forth through the porch and shut the doors of the parlor upon him and locked them. When he was gone out, his servants came, and when they saw that, behold, the doors of the parlor were locked, they said, surely he covereth his feet in his summer chamber. So when Ehud leaves, he goes to the doors and he locks them behind him, and he closes those doors and he takes off. Well, Ehud's gone. Some time has passed, so Eglon's servants come and they grab the door and they go to open it, but they're locked. And so they say, oh, he's covering his feet in his summer chamber, which I don't know, I guess would mean he's asleep, he's taking a nap, he's hanging out in the hammock, whatever. But they're not alarmed by this. Perhaps it's something that Eglon had done before, or they just, they don't hear anything going on inside, so they are just going to leave him alone. Verse 25, and they tarried till they were ashamed. And behold, he opened not the doors of the parlor. Therefore they took a key and opened them, and behold, their lord was fallen down dead on the earth. And Ehud escaped while they tarried, and passed beyond the quarries, and escaped unto Seirith. And it came to pass, when he was come, that he blew a trumpet in the mountain of Ephraim, and the children of Israel went down with him from the mount, and he before them. And he said unto them, follow after me, for the Lord hath delivered your enemies, the Moabites, into your hand. And they went down after him, and took the fords of Jordan toward Moab, and suffered not a man to pass over. And they slew of Moab at that time about 10,000 men, all lusty and all men of valor, and there escaped not a man. So Moab was subdued that day under the hand of Israel, and the land had rest 80 years. And after him was Shamgar the son of Anath, which slew of the Philistines 600 men with an ox goad, and he also delivered Israel. That's funny. So Ehud gets verses 12 through 30, and then this guy Shamgar, he gets one verse. But the story of Ehud is unique and unusual in that he performs this espionage, going in, pretending to bring a gift, but he's got a weapon hidden. I guess they didn't search him first. He goes into the parlor, tells Eglon that he has a message from the Lord for him. So everyone is told to leave by Eglon. They close the doors, and Ehud then takes that opportunity to stab him with that dagger, and it closes up around the haft, and now he's bleeding out and dying. Now, something important here, Ehud leaving and locking the doors, and then the servants coming up and not hearing anything, so they think he's just relaxing or napping. That's giving Eglon time to die. Could have been that if they'd gotten in there in time, they possibly could have saved his life, but nonetheless, so much time passes. By the time they get a key and unlock the door and go in, he's fallen on his face and he's dead. Meanwhile, Ehud has long escaped, and he's already gotten some men in place. He blows the trumpet to let Israel know that they have victory here. 18 years they are under the thumb of the Moabites. Now 80 years they're going to have relief from anyone being a problem to them. So there it is, Ehud, the man willing to risk his life, go in, kill the king of Moab, sneak out, well-planned assassination here, and he does a great job with it. So that's the story of Ehud. Thanks so much for watching. As always, we appreciate it and hope that you'll tune in every day that we have the devotions. They're always archived here on Facebook or also on YouTube. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.